Hello and welcome back to Titanium Cat Airsoft, and today I am going to be making the ABS printed compensator for the FN57 nicer. As you can see, 3D printing is amazing and all, but it does print in layers, so it does show these marks where the print builds up. So my aim today is to try and use this Tamiya putty basic type to fill in these ridges to make it flat, and then I'm going to sand it all off to make this thing have a flat surface and therefore more realistic. As you can see, I've already started. It's not amazing, but this stuff dries really quickly, so you can always add layers on top of it later. And since it's all going to be sanded down, it doesn't have to look like really nice. It just has to fill the gaps inside the ridges. These ridges. So I'm gonna put a tiny bit onto this bit of plastic I found, and all I'm gonna do is take it with whatever tool you have and just whack it on. I'm gonna try and go perpendicular to the ridges so that the putty can actually get into the ridges. So if I do this, it's just all gonna highlight the ridges, right? So I'm gonna try and go perpendicular. And you can use as much as you want, it just means you have to sand it down like more. But the more you use, the flatter it's gonna get. And this stuff dries really quickly, as I said before, so don't put too much out from the tube at once, otherwise you're just going to waste it. And I am going to carry on doing this off camera, so you don't have to watch me take my time and do this. Right, as you can see, I've puttied the whole thing. It's not perfect. Some places you can still see a bit of the grain of the 3D print, but that's okay because, as I said, it's all going to get sanded down. So the putty's just there to fill in the bigger voids, to be honest, and then everything gets sanded down to become flat. And up here, I've actually drawn lines. And I've decided that to make this comp actually a comp, and to make it look better, I'm going to drill holes. I've painstakingly drawn lines on this, because the 3D print is totally not straight and aligned. I pretty much eyeballed this, and I'm just hoping that the holes will all align, basically. And I've only got a hand drill, so let's get on to that. So for the middle holes, I am going to use an 8mm drill bit and do 3 holes, and on the sides I'm going to do a 4mm drill bit and do 4 holes. So here we go. I've already made a small hole into the print so that I can line it up properly. Just gonna go slow, making sure it's straight. I've changed to a metal drill bit. Let's see if this works better. Yeah. I was using a wood one, so the shape wasn't really correct. I used the wood one because it has the point on the front, so I thought it would guide the drill bit in better, but as you can see, the shape doesn't really allow for digging in unless it's wood. So this one, for metal, actually bores into the thing So for the other two holes, I'm gonna also start with the wooden bit and then change in the middle. Right. Sorry, I forgot to turn the camera on. Right, there we have it. 3 holes. Right, here comes the hard part. Because it's to an angle, I have to try and get these holes. I have to try and keep the drill at the same angle for every single hole. So I'm just gonna use this little tip to start the hole, then I'm gonna change to 4mm. Just going very slowly. Now to 4mm. Trying to keep the same angle, preferably the same angle as the comp. Oh shit. Oh no. Damn. I will find a way to fix that. Bear in mind, this is a 3D print, so it's not exactly strong. So things like this could happen. I actually like the look of it. I might do the same thing on the other side, in fact. Let's see how these holes turn out first. Right, there we have it, and I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side now. Right, as you can see, I have my holes all drilled out, and I've actually made that mistake, and I've corrected it by doing it on both sides, and I think this actually looks pretty cool. So, the next thing to do is to sand it all down. So I've got this flat surface, it's a chunk of plastic, and I've taped the sandpaper on it so it doesn't move anywhere. And we're going to go really slowly, one direction, making sure that it's completely flat. And I've taped the sandpaper to the side so that areas like this I can go like that. So here we go. Let's do this surface first. Let's do the bottom rail first. And I'm using a 220 grit sandpaper to start with. As you can see, these new straight marks are made by a sandpaper, and it's all going to come out when I change to a finer grit. So I'm gonna do the rest of this off camera so you don't have to watch me do it. So I want to show you quickly that you can see where all the ridges were, and it's filled in with putty, and this surface is actually completely flat now. You can't, if you scratch it with your nail, you won't feel any ridges. And this is the effect we're going to go for. And once it's all done, even though it looks like it has ridges, we're going to paint it and it's all going to disappear. Right, I've made a complete mess, but this is pretty much done. I didn't even have to go down to a finer grit sandpaper, as I can feel that it's completely smooth. So the next thing I'm just going to do is spray paint this black. I'm not going to show you how to spray paint that because everyone knows, but just prime it with a primer, then just spray it. And I'll show you the results afterwards. Oh, by the way, I even filed in these bevels on the front to make it look a bit nicer, if you can see there. Yep. Guys, we are finished, and this is the end result. I've spray painted the whole thing. You can see a tiny bit of like the 3D printed marks, but I think this is good enough, and it actually looks pretty realistic now. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. It's a lot more work than I expected, but I think it looks pretty damn good. So I'm gonna put it on the gun and show you what it looks like. That looks pretty sweet. So in my next video, I am going to be modifying the actual gun itself. I'm going to be stippling and doing a bit of paint. I still haven't thought of what color it should be, but I think it's going to be grey, maybe. So stay tuned for the next video, and make sure you subscribe and like this video so that you catch the next one. Thank you, see you guys next time.